this is my TD04 that I picked up for $200. Came with all the piping and stuff. I'm missing a lot of bolts and gaskets and such of that I'll have to replace. But this is pretty much it. There's a original wastegate on the back. Nothing too fancy. It's not a very big turbo. Just plan on running a little bit of more power through my car, as well as being able to showcase what I could possibly do with my skill set. So, yeah, I picked it up for $200 a couple months ago. Just haven't gotten the chance to get around to it yet. So I cleaned it all up, painted the lines, the wastegate, as well as the back half. So everything's high heat in the back end. Everything else is pretty well just regular paint. Nothing too fancy for that. So you got your inlet and your outlet for your coolant, all supplied when I bought the turbo. I've also gotten the upper intercooler pipe flange for the turbo, which sadly didn't come with any bolts or anything like that, so I picked these up. They're just regular, I believe they're M8s. Don't quote me too much on that because I don't remember. And then I have all my piping down here, which I might put together later. But for now, I need to get this guy mounted, at least with some feasible bolts. So these guys here, they thread in, but obviously are way too long, so I got to cut them down to 3/4 of an inch. So everything's pretty factory on the back half. It's off of a Ralliart, I believe, and the guy said that he had it on his, and I was able to get a pretty decent tune on the factory stuff on it. So I have pretty well everything set up except for that upper intercooler pipe flange, as well as the oil feeds. The oil feeds, I'm going to go with an AN style fitting. I don't want to use the regular hard line that is provided with the turbo out of the factory, which I do have, but I'd rather go to the ANs, so I can make it super easy to detach for the drain and the inlet. So this morning I'm gonna cut these guys down. I don't have very much tools because this is my shit shack, so I mean I don't have everything here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go quickly and run and cut these down, just with my tools and stuff there at my other place, and get those mounted up, and then I might do the intercooler piping, see what else, if anything leaks, maybe leak test it all and stuff like that, and go from there. Alright, so I just got back, and I went ahead and cut those to about 3/4 of an inch, so you can see just a little wee bit of it pokes out of the bottom. Kind of look a little funny because they are like really big size bolt heads, but you know what, they'll do the job. That's all that really matters. So they thread in pretty easy. I chased pretty well every thread on this turbo that wasn't broken or anything. Even if it was clean looking, I chased every one of them just to make sure that everything was nice, so it'll thread pretty well all the way to the bottom with barely any resistance. And then there you go. So the upper piece is done. I think I will add, just for security, a locking washer there when I put it back together for real, because I still need to take it back off and put a gasket on it. But from that point, the turbo itself is fully put together, so that's pretty good for that. So, like I said, I really need to get myself a head mount or something, or some sort of chest mount. So this will be a lot easier to do with only one person. I need to back this four-wheeler up a little bit so I have some more room. So I'm just gonna jump on it. just put it in neutral and get it to roll back a little bit. Oop. Camera's falling out. So yeah, that's it pretty well all completed. I'm still missing the bolts for the downpipe as well as the manifold and that. So if anyone's got any clue where I can get one, preferably not spend a fortune on. So something maybe that's used but isn't too bad that I can clean up and it looks nice, let me know. So now I think I'm gonna get this guy off the four-wheeler and I'm gonna pull out all my intercooler piping and stuff from that. So this is the factory drain, oil drain. So it goes on the side of the block, O-ring seals and that. I might reuse this one. I'm not sure if my car has the port. I would think so, but it would need to be cleaned up first, obviously, and go from there. Now I'm going to put some gloves on because I know this intercooler piping is really nasty to handle, even though I've cleaned them 3 times. So I'll be right back. So this is pretty well everything else that came with the kit. So I have a big pipe here that I believe attaches to this one. This kit is, what this guy gave me is pretty well all just weird odds and ends, like there's missing still quite a bit. This would be for your blow-off valve, and then a coupler for the intercooler, and this would be the upper intercooler pipe. Obviously I don't have that, so I'm gonna have to go and hunt for that now. So again, this is pretty well everything I have. So that would be, I believe, a lower intercooler pipe. Yeah, so this, trying to think here. I also got this, which must have been some sort of vacuum line. So yeah, like I said, I paid $200 for everything that's on here. And then I have the oil feed, a couple clamps and stuff down there still. But this is pretty well everything that was given to me. I was hoping I'd have all the piping. It's been a while since I looked at the kit, so I'm definitely missing the so this here would go to the top and then go across the engine and obviously hook up to a second intercooler pipe, which I do not have. I'm gonna have to double check exactly what the kit is, what the part number and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, put all the stuff back and go do that because I need everything, especially I'm missing the intercooler, so one of the biggest key parts of it. So yep. Cool. I just went inside my apartment here and go away, cat. Oh, my cat. Anyways, so I'm looking at just an OEM setup, just on Google, just to reference myself. So this bigger pipe, which I have, with that little sleeve there, goes right into the intake manifold from the cold side of the intercooler. From that point on, you have the blow-off valve that would sit there, and this would go around, mount to the side, and then through the intercooler, and then this side here comes in from the turbo. Comes around with this big pipe, which is just rubber, and then you have the steel section, which I do not have. So that's going to be, I'm going to have to get that. I'm going to have to add that to my list, as well as the intercooler. Obviously I don't have one. I do have this little section of pipe here, so I'm missing the steel pipe, as well as the intercooler, it looks like, and the blow-off valve. So not too bad for a list, and then obviously just nut and bolts and little doodads like that I need, just little stuff. So I could go with like an aftermarket kit, it's HKS makes them and stuff like that, but I'm alright with running an OEM if it's not broken, and I'm not trying to push an insane amount of power, just trying something different. So after a little bit of research, and obviously looking at Google to make sure I have all my components, I have obviously the driver's side intercooler pipe with the rubber pipe that goes into the throttle body, or the intake, whichever one you want to go about it. On the turbo side, I have the upper intercooler pipe that goes to across the top of the engine, and then would go to the second piece, that would be something plastic like this, into the intercooler on the other side. So obviously I'm missing that piece. It's been a little while since I looked at this. So obviously you have this pipe here, and then it'd go into another plastic piece into the intercooler, and then the other way, the cold side, you have this pipe, and then this goes in the throttle body, and then you have your blow-off gauge, your blow-off valve piping as well. So I'm missing that and the intercooler, and obviously the blow-off valve, so I'm gonna have to source that. So that's where I'm standing at now. So hopefully I won't have too much of a hard time. I did find a couple things on the Facebook Marketplace that had the whole piping and the intercooler for $100, but it's still quite a bit of a distance to drive, so I'm going to look at my local parts junkyards and see if I can find the manifold for here and the rest of the piping and the intercooler I need. So we'll go from there. So I'll chat to you guys when I find something. This turbo. So I cleaned this up a bit. I think I will reuse the drain because it's not in too bad. It still needs to be a little bit cleaned up around here, but it would mount here. And again, I don't have any bolts, so I'm going to go through my stash and see if I can find some, as well as maybe some bolts for here. I'm not sure if I have any, but I'll double check, and I'll be back if I find that. So I ended up finding these nice little Allen head bolts that thread in. So obviously I still need to replace the gasket, but that should go there. I actually went ahead and ordered a whole gasket kit for this turbo from the dealer, which was kind of a pain because whichever car this comes off of, they need to order with that VIN. It was kind of a pain in the arse, but I'll just let you. So I was only able to find one bolt, so I'll have to get 2 more, I guess. But I still have the one nut for the stud, and then I'm gonna have to go and cut this guy down for it to fit properly. It's a little long, so I kind of just sat it in there. We'll say about that long there should be fine. So I'll mark it there, see how long this is, and then I'll just bring the nut down, cut it, and then I should be alright for that. So I'll be back with you guys after that.